Hey, Alaupa friends, welcome to part two of this super intense April 27th, 2017 letter from the Department of the Secretariat, Universal House of Justice on political non-involvement and engagement in social action and public discourse. Great. All right, because I've been so into this. All right, you guys, this is the bottom of page one. The principle of non involvement in politics and obedience to government, far from being obstacles to social change, are aspects of an approach set forth in the Baha'i writings to implement effective remedies for and address the root causes of the ills afflicting society. This approach includes active involvement in the life of society as well as the possibility of influencing and contributing to the social policies of government by all lawful means. Indeed, service to others and to society is a hallmark of the Baha'i life. And Shoghi Effendi has explained that the machinery of the cause has been so fashioned that whatever is deemed necessary to incorporate into it in order to keep it in the forefront of all progressive movements can, according to the provisions made by Baha'u'llah, be safely embodied therein. That was a very Shoghi Effendi sentence. Let me read that again. The machinery of the cause has been so fashioned that whatever is deemed necessary to incorporate into it in order to keep it in the forefront of all progressive movements can, and according to the provisions made by Baha'u'llah, be safely embodied therein. End quote. The way in which Baha'is seek to effect social change is described in the second March 2013 message of the Universal House of Justice to the Baha'is of Iran. A copy of that message is enclosed for your study. I know what we will be reading next week. There can be no question, then, that Baha'is are committed to efforts toward social transformation. Quote, much as the Friends must guard against in any way ever seeming to identify themselves or the cause with any political party, Shoghi Effendi, through his secretary caution, they must also guard against the other extreme of never taking part with other progressive groups in conferences or committees designed to promote some activity in entire accord with our teachings, such as, for instance, better race relations. Thank you, Shoghi Effendi, for always being relevant. So we must guard against the other extreme of never taking part with other progressive groups and conferences or committees designed to promote some activity in entire accord with our teachings. This involvement in activities for social reform and well-being can, in certain circumstances, even extend to taking part in demonstrations. A letter written on the Guardian's behalf indicated that he did not see any objection to Baha'i students taking part as Baha'is in a protest concerning racial prejudice on campus, since there was nothing political about it, quote, and he does not see how they could remain indifferent when fellow students were voicing our own Baha'i attitude on such a vital issue and one we feel so strongly about. Thus, individual Baha'is are free to participate in those efforts and activities such as peaceful rallies that uphold constructive aims in consonance with Baha'i teachings. For example, the advancement of women, the promotion of social justice, the protection of the environment, the elimination of all forms of discrimination, and the safeguarding of human rights. In deciding whether it would be appropriate for Baha'is to participate in particular public activities, a crucial distinction should be drawn between those events that have a partisan political character and those that do not. A further distinction can be drawn between those activities that are fully in keeping with the teachings and that can be supported explicitly by Baha'i institutions, and those where the situation is less clear, in which Baha'i institutions should not participate, but in which individuals can be given some latitude to make a personal decision to take part, without in any way implying that they are representing the faith directly by their choice. You with me? If a believer harbors any doubt as to the appropriateness of involvement with a particular event or approach, guidance should be sought from the National Spiritual Assembly, which is in the best position to evaluate the specific circumstances and is responsible for making the final determination on such questions. Beyond this clarification of basic principles, there are other important considerations. Too often, political goals, even when pursued in the name of justice, are a chimera. For the fundamental partisanship in contemporary political life means policies are often implemented without building consensus, and consequently seeds of discontent and continuing political struggle are sown. Wow, that's so poetic, and it's so cutting and insightful. Too often, political goals, even when pursued in the name of justice, are a chimera, which is like an illusion. For the fundamental partisanship in contemporary political life means policies are often implemented without building consensus, and consequently seeds of discontent and continuing political struggle are sown. Conflict and contention ultimately yield more conflict and contention. Have you noticed that? Eliminating social problems rather than merely ameliorating them to an extent requires unity of thought as well as action, an open heart as well as an open hand. Conditions which Baha'u'llah's revelation is intended to bring about. Super interesting. Eliminating social problems rather than, sorry, I completely just lost my place. Okay, eliminating social problems rather than merely ameliorating them to an extent. Eliminating them requires unity of thought and action. An open heart as well as an open hand. Conditions which Baha'u'llah's revelation is intended to bring about. All right, my friends, I'll catch you in part 3. Are you with me? This is an amazing letter. Please feel free to share this whole playlist, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll catch you in part 3. All right?